For oh, lovely, lovely. Well, shall we kick off? You ready?
Yeah, no problem.
Well, Dave, Gill, well, thanks for joining me, and thank you for sharing your experience, your journey with our other customers. I know they'll find it really, really useful. If you cast your mind back when your project was, well, not even a project, a figment of your imagination, what were you trying to achieve?
Well, we came up with the idea of the extinction about 4 years ago, I guess. We had a vision of what we wanted to do. Now we wanted roof lantern. We were aware of the problem with the glare and the heat. So I started doing the investigations into the different options that we had. And I came across WindowTreat and contacted you guys and actually met with Chris even before we'd even come up with the plans and all that, just to get an idea of what was involved.
Well, David, Jill, that's amazing that you were thinking about the potential issues with lots of glass before you actually finished the extension. In fact, you started it. At what point did you start it? Was at the design stage?
Yeah, I said we knew we wanted roof lanterns. We wasn't quite sure what the options were, whether you could get manual blinds to put across or what. So I started doing the investigation and came across the automated roof blinds. And I said I came across WindowTree and looked at the different options. And it was good meeting Chris so early on because he gave us the idea of where we had to have the electric points and stuff like that, so that it didn't have to be retrofitted afterwards. So it was good to get in early so we could build that into the actual plan.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what other options did you look at before choosing the blind you did?
Well, we looked at the cantilever one, and cantilever blinds that are on the market. We looked at DIY one, where you can buy a kit that you fit yourself. We looked at the different films that you can have on that they don't necessarily provide a blind, but do the reflective heating. And there were a number of options we looked at, but we liked the idea of the automated blinds. That's why we went ahead with that.
Yes, that was the solution you really wanted. And how's the experience with Chris? Because I presume you had a Teams call or a Zoom call, a bit like today. We were doing this by Zoom, and you'd have gone through a process online.
Yeah, definitely. We got an appointment with Chris, and I said just before we even had finalised plans, so it was very early in the life cycle, and to meet Chris, go through the different options, the different types of blinds that you do. I said he spoke about all the different automation options where you can control it via Alexa, stuff like that. I said it was really useful meeting because he told us how high up the upstairs the blinds would go, where the different fuse spurs had to go to provide the power. I had a really good meeting him. It was probably about 18 months before we actually put in the order. So it was good meeting him early on to get that idea.
Also talked about the different types of fabrics as well. So understanding how they would, reflect the light or let light through and sort of like, keep heat out, all that sort of thing, thermal insulation. It was really good, wasn't it, meeting so early?
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well done. And so you chose WindowTreat. Why did you choose WindowTreat?
Mainly through the testimonial that we saw online. We went onto your website and looked at the different options and saw the testimonial, and we were like, okay, we'll get in touch and find out what options there were and what the costs would be. It was the testimonial really that sold it to us.
Oh, really? Well, that's lovely because they're genuine and we get so much positive feedback from these testimonials, these talks about people's experiences. So you went for the Hermes, which is a sort of more powerful blind than the standard the starting point blinds that we have, leading to a sort of flatter fabric, isn't it? And it reduces the requirement for cables. So we don't, most customers don't like cables across the opening. Was that a concern for you too?
And yeah, because our roof lanterns are quite large, they're 2.4 by 1.4 meters. Chris explained that you could go for a lower in the range, but it would then struggle to get the fabric as flat due to the tension. So there were other options available, but we felt that the Hermes would do the best for us and provide us with the best finish in the end. And we're very happy with them.
Yeah, at that size, it's a smart choice you made as well. So you placed the order with WindowTreat, and then I presume you met Martin and Brian. So you experienced the installation process. How did that go?
Well, yeah, they came round and measured up. We were a little worried, I would say, beforehand, because we got quite a large kitchen island underneath one of the roof lanterns. We wasn't quite sure how they were going to navigate around there, but they were absolutely superb in the way they came in, and very clean, very tidy, and such lovely guys as well.
Very knowledgeable, weren't they? Yeah, we asked lots of questions. We completely grilled them so that we didn't feel afterwards that we didn't know what to do, how to clean and that sort of thing. They were brilliant, weren't they? Really, really informative.
They came and did the measuring up, and then they came back and fitted it. I think about 8 weeks later. But yeah, it was such lovely guys.
Well, thank you for that. Lovely. They'll be delighted with that feedback. Yes, and you mentioned heat and glare being big concerns for you at the outset, even at the design stage of your project. Has the blind met your expectation?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we always knew we would get blinds. Like I said, Dave looked into it way before we even started the extension, and we knew we would get them, but we didn't plan on getting them straight away because funds. But we sat out here for a couple of days, a couple of weeks after we had the extension finished, and it was just unbearable, wasn't it? It was just too hot. So, and the glare. So, that's why we bought before we get them installed. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Like, the sun comes out, we close them, the sun goes in, we open them. But it makes such a difference to the temperature in the room. We read the testimonials and people have said the same, so we kind of knew it would do that. But we were impressed with how much it stops the heat in the room.
Yeah, so that's the solar gain you're talking about that stops the heat coming in. And have you had a cold snap at all to experience the flip side? Yeah.
Not really, no.
Well,
since we've moved in to the extension.
Yeah. So I'm sure you'll notice the difference between when it's in the open and closed position during the cold snaps that we're likely to get in a few months' time as well. Certainly on the feedback from other customers, we know it makes a big difference too.
Yeah, and it's good because the fabric we've got lets in the light, but we still get light into the room, but we don't get that heat and that glare that we did before. So got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I like to be able to see the sky, so the fact that you can see through them is brilliant.
So Gill, that connection to the outside is important to you.
Yeah. Our house was quite dark before we had built the extension. It's fine. You don't really know any different, but now that we've got the extension, like the light that comes in is incredible. So when we close the blinds, it does get darker, obviously, but the fact that it still lets the light through it's lovely. And like I said, I like to see the sky. But also, I think we realised just how dark it would have made our room if we'd have not had any roof lanterns at all, or if we'd have gone for maybe like a darker fabric or something. But yeah, no, we love it.
Yeah, but we did contemplate the blackout line and blackout fabric, but then that would have made it very, very dark. So we're glad we went for the polarised that allows the light through.
Yeah, because we've got a dark bank of units in our kitchen extension, so it would have made it very dark in here if we'd have gone for like a solid fabric.
Excellent. Well, really, I have one more question before cheekily asking you to open and close the blinds. I think other customers would love to see your blinds in action. But the $1 million question really is: would you recommend WindowTreat to friends and family?
Yeah, that shadow of a doubt.
From day one, from the moment I contacted you and had that initial meeting with Chris, it was only ever going to be one company we would use.
And the testimonials that we'd read have said, like, you know, when they're installed, the guys are fantastic, but they really were fantastic. You can't labour the point of enough, can you? They were just so meticulous about everything, like tidiness afterwards. It was immaculate. Probably cleaner before they arrived, to be honest. But it was, yeah, they were brilliant.
Well, that's music to my ears. Thank you. And are we able to see the blind in action?
Echo, open blinds. Okay. Actually not quite, so you thought it'd be as well. When it opens. Yeah, idea of blind.
Yeah. Not everything on me, I'll open it up.
One thing that we did when we was choosing our roof lanterns, we spoke to the glazing company about the glass, and we were saying, oh, you know, we're thinking about getting blinds, and you know, it's extra expense, but we really think we need them. And he said, I've not had anybody come back and ever say they need blinds, which I think people probably do need to think about factoring that into their, even if it's a new build, or even if you just got a really hot room, that you know, they make such a massive difference.
No, thank you for that, for sharing that, Gill. It's yeah, you do need control. I sort of liken it to having a performance sports car. A roof lantern lets in all the light, huge amounts of light and heat and energy, but you've got no brakes, and you need to have brakes on your performance sports car.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
Yeah, well, we can see how much brighter it is in the sheer volume of light. Are we able to close them again, do you think, now?
Go. Close blinds. Okay. Just instantly feel the heat drop.
Yeah,
it's not even a sunny day today, but just literally the heat just drops.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think that might be the first actually, that you've talked to your blinds to open and close them. I don't think we've had that on a video call before.
Yeah, it's very handy. We're quite lazy.
Yeah.
It's quite handy just to close them, especially when, like I say, when the sun comes out. And so, you know, rather than keep looking for the remote, because we chose not to have our remote installed on the wall. So rather than, you know, having to find the remote, we can just say open, close. It's brilliant.
Well, thank you ever so much again for sharing. It's been and actually from here, I feel I can sort of experience what you've got.